college. Grossmont Community College, which is in the San Diego area. A number of my relatives also have AA or AS degrees from there. And then went on to San Diego State for a couple of 3 degrees. One forgets over the course of time, and then to get a doctorate. Now, with respect to my position in California, I am a patriot first. After you know that I'm a believer in salvation through Jesus Christ, that means I'm a Christian. That means that I worship the one true God. In addition to that, then, I am a warrior, and I am a constitutionalist. The documents on which this country was founded were first the Bible, then the Declaration of Independence, and then the U.S. Constitution. We must return our rights to the people to make their decisions, their choices, your choices. With respect to being here at community college.
Thank you. Thank you. And representing Governor Jerry Brown is Eric Bauman of the California Democratic Party.
Good afternoon, students. How are you? I'm proud to be here to represent Governor Jerry Brown, who 4 years ago ran for office saying that he would fix the $60 billion deficit that Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger had led our state to. Not only do we have a $4.5 billion surplus today, but just in this year's budget, we added $450 million for community colleges up and down across the state. We implemented the Affordable Care Act, and 3.1 million Californians now have health insurance. And the unemployment rate dropped from 12.4% to 8.1%. Governor Jerry Brown will be reelected. He will be overwhelmingly reelected, and it's because he stands where the people of California stand. For fairness and equality for all, for a livable wage for all, for reasonable benefits for all. So I thank you for having me here, and I look forward to this conversation.
And a nonpartisan candidate, Janel, Buycks.
First off, good afternoon. My name is Janel Buycks. I currently am representing the people. My main mission really is to empower and equip the church and the people of California by educating them in politics. I believe the more that you know, the more you become empowered. And right now, the politicians that are in Sacramento right now have made it very convoluted on understanding what is going on. A lot of people are unaware of really what's going on in California, and it's time for everybody to become more knowledgeable about some of the things that have been passed, some of the different propositions, different bills that are actually increasing the student rates, and even just making, actually increasing our taxes as well that affect us and the generations to come. I'm not a career politician. However, just like yourself, I'm tired of what's been going on in California, and only through personal experience over the last 7 years, writing to the U.S. Attorney General, writing to the President, writing to the Attorney General here, writing to the Chief Justice, writing to our court, the different things, the Judicial Commission Council, the California State Bar with no resolution is a concern. So it's time to make California more accountable on where is our money going, what is going on, and really to resolve the issues that a lot of our citizens or Californians have right now, that they're not getting their complaints answered as well. So I'm here to represent you as a people.
Thank you. Thank you. No Buycks. And next is Cindy Sheehan for the Peace and Freedom Party.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Oh. I'm getting some dirty looks already. I haven't even started talking. So, I am with the Peace and Freedom Party, Cindy Sheehan. We are a socialist party, but I don't think you'll catch it sitting next to me. So, I don't think you'll catch socialism. Unfortunately, Jerry Brown probably will win, because we have what's called the top 2 primary. And I've met everybody up here. Very nice people. There's most of them. We have very different, ideologies, programs. Very close with Luis Rodriguez of the Green Party and our ideologies and our solutions to this. Jerry Brown balanced the budget off the backs of vulnerable people. California has the highest poverty rate in the nation. We rank at the bottom in education in the nation. And we have a surplus. That money doesn't belong to Jerry Brown. That money doesn't belong to Sacramento. It belongs to the people. And so the budget should not be balanced off of health care, education, social safety nets, and I think I hear the thing, but we'll have more time to talk. Thank you.
And Green Party candidate for governor, Luis Rodriguez.
Thank you very much. Honored to be here. I'm actually a San Fernando resident, and my dad actually retired from Pierce College as a laboratory custodian. So I have a little history here. What I really want to see is the three pillars of a healthy, thriving society stay strong. One, the environment. We have a third of our Californians breathe bad air in the state of California. We have some of the most polluted lands, the most polluted communities, and generally in working class, poor, black and brown communities. I would do everything I can to make sure that we do not poison our air, our ground, and our water. Second, it's the economy. We have not only 9 million people in poverty, almost 3 million since Governor Brown has been governor. People are not taking care of jobs. They're not taking care of a livable income or a possible minimum wage. I'm the one candidate that will say we should have minimum wage of 15 and a livable income beyond that, because I don't even think that's enough to live on. We can end poverty in the state of California. That is my goal, and that's what I will go to Sacramento for. And the third one is social justice. Those are the three pillars. We need social justice for everybody. Everybody has to be heard, everybody's issues has to be clarified, and we got to make sure that nobody feels that they are not part of the state, that California takes care of everyone, not just people with money, not just the corporations, not just people with power, but every one of us. Thank you.
The students pre-wrote some questions. I'm gonna just pick a few of them, and then we can hopefully open it up to the audience. The first one, most of the students, this is from Avinash, but they're asking about education. They want to know, would you recommend altering the budget on education, and if so, how? And let's just, let's start at this end with Mr. Newman, and then just work our way down.
Well, as you already heard, I'm pro-education. That's your future. That helps you understand how your world works and what your role or your part is in that. We must have an adequate budget for education. I'm involved with 2 different community college districts in my area. One in the president's office, the other at the board of trustees level. I see rust is when money is spent, that they be spent on that which perpetuates education, not administration. I know how to make friends. Thank you. I'll hand that over, but it's what I mean is administration is not close to my heart. Service delivery is. Learning is.
Thank you. And next is Eric Bauman for Governor Jerry Brown.
We have an interesting dilemma in California. On the one hand, voters constantly pass initiatives that tie the hands of the government and force them into little silos. And then on the other hand, people say they don't get the services they want or there's not enough money to pay for them. Well, Proposition 98 was passed by the voters, and it says that 42 cents of every dollar that goes into California's general fund goes to fund K through 14 education. That is true, that is a fact, and that is what happens. However, the problem is, particularly for community colleges, is that there's a cap. So even though you pay tuition, if this campus is calculated at $10 million a year in revenues, at 10,000 students, and they get 11,000 students, they still get only $10 million. Part of what Governor Brown and the legislature have done since the economy began to recover was begin to reinvest once again in our education system. We've added $2.5 billion to the K-12 system, $450 million to community colleges, $250,000 each to UC and CSU. Most importantly, this year we passed the last year we passed the Middle Class Scholarship Act. For those students who don't qualify for Cal Grants because their parents earn $50,000 a year to $150,000 a year, there's a 40% tuition reduction that became effective this year. But there's still not enough money in the system to ensure that we meet the obligation, the promise that we made to our students, which was that if you worked hard and you graduated and did the right thing, there would be a slot for you at Cal State and UC, and that has to be the goal going forward.
Thank you. And Glen Champ is a Republican.
Hey, let's face it. He says we're getting 42 cents out of every dollar goes to our education. You see it? No. And he's been telling us lies for over 40 years. Now look it, there's only one sound foundation in education. And most of us on here will agree on this board. It starts with Jesus Christ, period. And that goes from K through 12. Now you need to be teaching them technical schools, trades. They start about 8th grade. That's when you can start teaching trades in schools. We're not doing that. We're not teaching anybody anything. Our college students, they're being shipped out to other states if they can find a job with their degree. It's pathetic. Our educational system is a disaster because we do not have the foundation. We do not have the morals. What we have is indoctrination. And they call that Common Core. I don't know if some of you are familiar with it, but it's all messed up. And we can thank Jerry Brown for a lot of that. All right, that's my time.
Okay, next is Cindy Sheehan for the Peace and Freedom Party.
Thank you. Education is very near and dear to me, especially higher education. My son joined the military because he was promised a college education, and he was killed in an illegal and immoral war in Iraq. And his next sibling, my oldest daughter, got her master's degree. She went to UC Davis, then she went to San Francisco State. She owes $50,000 in loans. We believe that comprehensive, available, good education is a right from preschool to university. And that college should be free, like it used to be when I was in college here in California, and like it's all over the world. We can do it here. Now, we need to forgive student loans. We need to rework Proposition 13, so people who own their individual home don't pay as high taxes, but property for profit pays higher taxes. And we need to have a comprehensive education. One of our other opponents, Neil Kashkari, said that school should be free for people majoring in sciences and math. We think it should be free for everybody. And we think that you should be able to get an education in what you want, not what's going to, be the most profitable in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Janel Buycks. Janel is a, nonpartisan candidate.
Yes, education is very dear to my heart, as I am a graduate of San Diego State University. I took some classes at Grossmont College and was a president of their African American department there, and also classes at UCSD. So education is very key because we'll be forever learning, whether it be in school, whether it be theology. You will always learn something new every day. So I will say this, when it comes to education, I believe we already have a budget set in order. However, again, it comes from accountability. Whoever the next controller will be, I would actually be working hand in hand to ensure that the monies that were supposed to be used from the lottery, which is 95 cents per dollar, okay, this is where the educational part comes from my personal research. 95 cents per dollar is supposed to be scattered and, distributed to each county. There's 58 counties throughout the state of California and 478 cities throughout the state of California. And certain districts, certain counties and certain school districts are getting more money than other districts. And that even includes when it comes to universities. We've found that even UC universities, who are private institutions, are getting funded from the lottery. Why is that? The money is there. We need to know why is it not being accounted for and why is it not being used the way that it's supposed to be used. So thank you for my time.
Thank you. And Luis Rodriguez for the Green Party.
So yes, I support fully funded, free, quality education for everyone. For the same reason as was mentioned before, I have a daughter. My dad had 8 kids and 30 grandkids. She is the first one to graduate from college. She got $60,000 and will be paying for it for the rest of her life. That is wrong. I have 2 kids in the UC system who are paying big bucks to go there. There was a time not long ago you can go to UC Berkeley for free. We can get back to that time. And as was mentioned before, there are other places in the world, even poorer countries than California, than the United States, that get free education. I was in Argentina not that long ago. It was one of the most economically distressed countries in the Americas. They have a free educational system all the way to the university. And I thought that their university was going to be a little hut somewhere, some small little place. I went and visited that university. It's as nice as any university we have here. Why can't we do this in California? I believe it's possible. I believe it's necessary. I also think it's important for classes to not be Common Core. I agree. Common Core is not the way to go. It's to bring out the passions for learning, to bring out the passions for your life, what you want to do, what you feel you need to do. Our passion should be our schools that have welding classes, that have sewing machines, because that's where everybody's going to end up in. No more schools for industry. Instead of schools for each other. Learn to live the life you were meant to live. That's what schools should be for. Thank you.
Thank you. Amber asks the question, are we prepared for climate change or severe natural disasters? If not, what would you do to help us survive? I guess we can again go down the list. We'll start with Robert Newman. Robert Newman is a nonpartisan candidate for governor. So again, the question, are we prepared for climate change or severe natural disasters? And if not, what would you do to help us survive?
I hardly think those are the 2 alternatives. We have fluctuation in the environment. We all know that. Sometimes man contributes to that, either facilitating or retarding some climate changes. I am not a proponent of the phenomenon of climate change as a function to burning fossil fuels and other human contributions. That is a factor. Volcanoes are a factor. Hurricanes are a factor. Forest fires are a factor. Huge factors. We do make a contribution. I drove way over 100 miles to get here today because I valued this opportunity to address you and have you process some of these responses that you are hearing. So hopefully you heard what I said, is that we live in this world, we need to be good stewards of it. I left a tribal, I'm on an advisory board of the council. Here's my next presentation.
Thank you, Robert Newman. And now Eric Bauman, representing Governor Jerry Brown.
It's amazing to me that in 2014, anybody is still questioning whether or not climate change is occurring. I think all we have to do is look around us and look at the weather, look at the bizarre things that are happening to understand that climate change is here. And that said, no, of course we're not ready for climate change. But California is one of the most furthest, has advanced further than most states with respect to switching over to renewable energy. The amount of solar, wind, and hydro energy that we're using is the tops in the nation. Here in Los Angeles, we're about to hit the 24% mark, which is an extraordinary reduction in the burning of carbon fuels. In terms of emergencies, we know that California faces the big one. And the California Department of Emergency Services has been working and drilling to prepare for a major earthquake for many, many years, so that we don't ever end up like with a Hurricane Katrina situation. Each of 7 regions around the state of California are identified and fully self-contained to allow us to be managed in the event of a serious earthquake or other disaster. And you see that in the drilling which just occurred a little over a month ago, where throughout Los Angeles County, hospitals, law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, and citizens all got together to prepare for what would happen in the big shakeout. So we have a long way to go to be prepared, but we know here in California we're going to face it. And it's something that everybody in this room should do, is join. Every one of you should go and take a CERT class, Citizen Emergency Response Team class, so that you too can help in your family, in your neighborhood, in your community, because that's how we're going to survive.
Thank you. Amber, they're answering your question. She just gave me. Okay, and Glen Champ. Glen Champ is a Republican candidate for governor.
Well, I believe in an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Now we take the good book. He says we're bringing this on ourselves. We are creating this catastrophe that he's talking about by not living a righteous life and exaggerating our God and Father in heaven. We've created this by walking away from him. Just like we had 9/11 because we walked away from him. We had Katrina because we walked away from him. Being prepared is being right in the heart, walking with the Father. That is our job here on earth, is to walk with the Father. Each and every individual's responsibility to do so. This is what's caused our problems in this state, our selfishness. I, myself, me. And this is what's caused our problems. We don't have love our neighbor as ourselves anymore. And this is what's caused it. Yes, we're going to have a big quake and all that good stuff, but without love in your heart, how are you going to help your neighbor that needs water? How are you going to help them? That's the question I ask you guys, because I have it in mind, and that's what I want to do for this state, to help them be prepared in their heart for that situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy Sheehan from the Peace and Freedom Party.
Hello. First of all, I'm wondering why we don't get like 20 minutes per question to answer like the previous panel did, because these issues are so important and we're supposed to address them in a minute. But I would like to say we all have websites. Mine is cindy2014.org, and you can see more comprehensive answers to these questions. The Peace and Freedom Party is an environmentalist party. We call on Jerry Brown to stop the terrible practice of fracking, hydrofracturing. We want the surplus, part of it, to be spent on more available, clean forms of public transportation. We need to expand trains and buses and bike lanes and protected pedestrian paths. We need to get out of our cars and make a community that cares about each other. Now, I care about this issue so much, I just rode my bike from California to Washington, D.C. last year. I went from April to July, talking to people about this issue. Now, we can also have cleaner burning automobiles also, but we need to make this a top priority. And one thing I agree with Glen about is that we have, what LA is doing might not work for us. So we believe in community councils, we believe in public control of the utilities, and we believe in a rapid transition from the fossil fuel economy to clean, renewable, sustainable forms of energy. And this, we believe this is the #1 issue, is leaving an earth that we can be proud of for our children and grandchildren.
Thank you.